Catholic Hill, a virtual walking tour. When John Galt founded Guelph in 1827, he felt that a community skyline was a good indication of a community and its values. So he wanted his new community to have a church in a physically prominent place. Catholic Hill, with its majestic basilica and related buildings, is Guelph's distinctive landscape that gives our city its unique sense of place. I'd like to tell you some of the stories of the hill over time, what it was, how it grew, and what it is now. On April 23, 1827, John Galt set out with a party of woodsmen from Shades Mill in Galt. Their goal was one special tree on the banks of the River Speed. John Galt was determined to cut that tree on that day, as he believed that St. George's Day was most suitable for launching a vessel. That tree cutting marked the founding of Guelph. John Galt was a novelist, an entrepreneur, often a pauper, and at this time an employee of the Canada Company, a kind of real estate salesman. He believed that settlers would be more likely to buy the land if there was a significant town that could supply their needs. His friend Bishop MacDonald helped him with promoting the land sales. In his Guelph plan, he assigned hills for the main churches, and he gave the most prominent hill to his friend Bishop MacDonald to thank him for his help. He sent his woodsmen to clear up a path up the hill and leave a large tree to mark the site for the new church. By 1855, the hill was home to three main buildings, with the church flanked by a rectory and the Loretto convent. The first church was St. Patrick's, a wooden structure built in 1835, and the first painted building in the city. It was destroyed by fire on October 10, 1844. The second church was St. Bartholomew's, built in 1846 of stone quarried from the Waterloo Road area. The road and steps up to the church are shown in this 1855 view of Catholic Hill. The cornerstone of St. Bartholomew now sits in front of the Basilica steps. In 1852, Father John Holzer, a Jesuit priest, was appointed to be pastor of the parish. During his pastorate, he worked on establishing a school and convent. In 1856, the Diocese of Hamilton was established and planning began for the new church building, which was meant to occupy most of the hill. After the cornerstone was laid in 1863, the construction of the huge church began, but it was abandoned because of the cost. Finally, in 1874, Joseph Conley was appointed an architect, and plans for the present Church of Our Lady took shape. The construction began at the back of St. Bartholomew's and building around it for the next 10 years until the old church could be demolished in 1888. A crowd of 2,000 attended its dedication. The towers were added in 1926. Over the years, the access to the church changed from the first unpaved road for use by horse-drawn carriages to a paved road and parking lot behind the building. In 1937, pedestrian access from the Norfolk Street was created with steps that ascended the hill. When Norfolk Street was regraded and the underpass built in 1960, the lower steps were rebuilt and a platform added. Recently, Tacoma engineers have prepared drawings for a new configuration that will be created when funding is available. If you walk around the back of the building, you will see a series of 7 circular chapels with interesting carvings. Matthew Bell, one of Guelph's best-known stone carvers, was hired to carve faces on each of the corbels between the arched windows. Sadly, he fell from the scaffolding when he was working. The rest of the corbels remain blank cubes to honor his memory. The white statue in the center chapel is St. George, in tribute to the day of Guelph's founding. When Father Holzer arrived in 1852, he began work on a large stone schoolhouse, which later became the convent. The building was originally 3 stories. The 4th story and the mansard roof were added in 1896. A chapel was added on the north side in 1872. Over the years, the number of Loretto sisters declined from its highest number in the first half of the 20th century. In 1996, the last nuns left the convent, and it was left empty and deteriorating until the diocese decided to demolish it in 2004. After considerable debate, the building was gutted and its venerable stones restored to create a beautiful showcase of Guelph's history, now known as the Guelph Civic Museum, which opened in 2012. A stunning new addition to the landscape was the larger-than-life statue of John McCrae by sculptor Ruth Abernathy. It was dedicated on May 8, 2015 to mark the 100th anniversary of the writing of his famous poem, In Flanders Fields. The Rectory. In 1857, Father Holzer started building the Rectory, intending it to be a boys' school known as Ignatius College, but it closed after 6 years. The building was then reconfigured to be a residence for priests. Later, a third story and mansard roof were added, as well as a handball court and small bowling alley on the third floor. As the number of priests declined in recent years, the rectory needed considerable restoration work. From 2018 to 2020, renovations were created residence for 3 priests, storage on the top floor, and new office space at the back. The rendered coating on the outside is a recreation of the original outside stucco coating of the building. In front of the rectory is a beautiful garden which was created by donations and is maintained by volunteers. The Garden of Grace, a quiet oasis for contemplation overlooking the city.